Hello, my beautiful dads and non-dads alike. Welcome to Internet Dads with myself, Spencer, and himself, Rory.
You better be on form today, sir.
What, am I not sometimes on?
No, you just need to be. You always are, but I think if you ever need to like really shine, today's your day.
Why?
Because I'm a beaten man.
Okay.
I'm a beaten man.
Why is
Pandora, totally kid related, but she killed me last night. I felt like I had to step up. I haven't done enough. I was away playing poker at Barcelona. I felt sorry for my wife. She's just doing everything. I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And last night I decided, therefore, I will do the night.
And it was a rough one?
Oh, it's terrible.
Okay.
Just terrible. I don't know how they do it. How do they do it?
I mean, they're superhuman, let's be honest. They are, I'm happy to say it, superior to men.
Yeah. Mate, I'm dying. I've done one night.
I think that's quite important, though, because if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have denied that vehemently.
Yeah, no.
But women are superior to men.
Yeah, so I'm gonna. This is the very definition of I'm gonna coast.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm not really here. Everybody, I'm kind of seeing two of you at the moment, picking my favourite one and focusing on that one. It's tough. It's so tough. And Pandora's weaning.
Yes, okay.
Messy,
yeah. And also you got that combined with teething. Isn't it weird, by the way? So my youngest is teething a lot at the moment. And this will be very normal to those of you that, have kids. But those of you that don't know this will not understand that when they teeth, it massively affects their poo. Isn't that weird? Do you know that?
I don't know that. We're not teething. I've done it before. But
they'll do like crazy diarrhea and stuff because they're teething.
Oh, really?
I don't pretend to know the science behind it, but it is a thing.
I look forward to that. Although, do you know what? One of the most amazing things in terms of like the change that happened to me when I became a father, that topic that you've just brought up, I find so distasteful. I don't even want to talk about it. I can't bring myself to say the words. Apart from the only time I find anything like that even remotely palatable, my own daughter.
Yeah.
Like it didn't put, like the idea of changing a nappy in terms of in concept, I would be like, I'd be like that.
Yeah.
The reality of it is, when it's my own kid, I'm like, no drama, not a problem.
No, you see
Easy.
millions of examples of that once you become a parent. It's the same. We've talked about it when you're on the aeroplane. I used to be so scared of having a crying baby on an aeroplane because other people's crying babies would annoy me. But when it's your crying baby, you don't care. Yeah. You just want your baby to stop crying because you're worried about it.
And have you found that your own sensibilities have massively changed? So, for example, before I had a child, I'd be quite annoyed by somebody else's baby, potentially. I'd be a bit like, oh, come on. Now, if there's a baby there crying, I couldn't care less because I don't have to deal with it. All I think is, I'm just like, oh, unlucky. Honestly, I'd have a cigar while your baby cries.
It's almost like we're being trained, like our ears work differently now and we don't hear there's a certain level of baby noise that is like white noise at this point. Because it's the same with my little boy. Like, he's in that stage where he's like, dad, dad, dad. And if you don't say yes, he's like, dad, dad, dad. And like, you don't hear the first 10 dads.
Yeah.
It's like 11, 12 is when I go, oh, he said my name. But I mean, it's a very important time, Rory. It's good to have you back because it's September, right? Everything's kicking off. Some people are very happy about that. Some people are getting locked in, as they say, for the rest of the year. I think that is just completely related to the fact that the weather has dropped off a cliff. Why are you celebrating?
It's the most wonderful time of the year. This is what I live for. This is the time. Clementine back in school, right? Yeah. That's what I need. The boiling hot days are finishing. The rain is starting to come in. Like today, actually, there's a semblance of not quite winter, but there's a slight howl in the air. There's a slight chill in the air.
No, it's disgusting. I got drenched.
Fantastic.
So my little boy's officially started school this week. He's now in the system.
Wow.
Maybe temporarily, but because it's very close to my house. We're walking him to school, and the last 2 days about to come into town. So we're walking with Alex, but then Alex will go home with the little one, and I'll walk to the station. It's not a long walk. It's about half a mile from the school to the station, right? I walk about 200-300 meters. The heavens open. And I'm talking like Costa Rican jungle amounts of rain. So I didn't have an umbrella. So I have to jump in a little coffee shop. Mate, I called an Uber to the train station. It was like 400 meters.
You're a pathetic man.
Mate, I would have literally been unusable as a human today if I'd let that water get me. It was so bad.
Yeah.
So I had to wait for the Uber and I had to sit in an Uber for about 300 meters to get out to not get wet, which I'm embarrassed by. But mate, I don't know where you're getting this chirpiness from.
I find the summer an effort. I think London in the sun, people seem to pretend that it's great. That Lily Allen song
we really
about
are opposite, me and you.
Sun in the sky. Why would I want to be anywhere else? I think London in the summer, we're not a city that's built for it. The tube is despicable. I can't get to sleep at night.
Yeah, that's true.
Bring in the cold temp. Don't you like a nice cozy cold evening?
Not really, because I suffer from something called Raynaud's. Do you know what Raynaud's is?
No.
I only realised this a couple of years ago.
Have you self-diagnosed again?
No, I literally went. I had proper diagnosis. This one, I went all through it because I didn't know what it was, and it's partly related to running a football team, right? When you run a football team, particularly an English football team, you go to a lot of games in awful weather, and we're talking non-league games, so you're not like in a nice box watching. You are in the stand, freezing your tits off, basically, right? And I don't know when it kicked in, but it must have been 2 or 3 years ago. I would just, my feet, and I'm like, it could get so cold, but what was crazy about them is they would never warm up again.
Your feet?
My feet, not my hands, my feet. So I'd go home. Let's say I've sat at a game in like February.
Right.
It could literally be freezing. And even once I understood this was a problem, I would wear thermal socks, double layer socks, big boots. Like, you'd think I would be indestructible. Yeah. I'd get home and my feet would not warm up until I woke up the next day. They would be freezing cold to touch. And it was actually like almost painful, like to the point of real discomfort.
Rigor mortis.
And no, it's called Raynaud's. So some people get it in their fingers, some people get it in their feet, some people, it's like a circulation
And what
issue.
is it? Just circulation?
It's like a circulation issue. I didn't probably diagnose. There's nothing you can do for it, really. Do you know what, actually, which is really random, but do you know what they actually give you for Raynaud's if you want to medically try and improve it? They give you antidepressants. Because for whatever reason, antidepressants have a side effect which helps with Raynaud's, but I didn't want to get on them. So I just manage it.
Cold feet.
Well, yeah, but it's minging, mate. It's minging. And it definitely affects I think the whole, like, we talked about maybe whether I have a bit of seasonal, what's it called, SAD.
SAD, yeah.
If I do, it's literally because of Raynaud's, I think. Because I get in a really bad mood.
I think I have SAD, but the other way.
Yeah, you're still affected by the seasons.
I'm affected by the seasons, but I'm far happier in the cold months. Not everywhere. Like, I thoroughly enjoy the temperature being like 30 on holiday by a pool when somebody's perhaps bringing me a daiquiri.
Yeah.
I'm very in favour of that. But what I don't want to do ever is deal with London at 33 degrees.
But what about the shorts, Rory? They're going to have to go away. You love the shorts. How far in the year will you wear them until?
November.
No. Really?
November. I haven't got access to trousers at the moment. I've got this whole thing. I haven't got a big cupboard. I'm serious. I haven't got access. I have to make a decision at some point when the shorts go up and the trousers come down. And at the moment, I'm still shorts.
November is outrageous, mate, even for you.
Certainly October. They've got another 4 weeks in.
Well, this is the thing. Often, I do think the weather is all over the place at the moment, not just in England, everywhere. It seems really random reports of like Australia having way colder weather than they used to, and England having way
England's
hotter.
Boiling, I know.
Yeah, but then normally, usually we get a nice little burst of sun in September. Yeah. And, sometimes we have a disappointing summer. In recent years, I found we've had like good Mays and good Septembers.
Yeah.
But the weather at the moment is not scheduled to be good this month at all.
No, it's great. It's great, but it's not cold. It's a bit murky, but it's not actually cold.
Yeah, I really don't like the cold. I really don't like the wind. I don't mind the rain if it's warm rain, but I don't like the cold rain.
I think everything's fine apart from being wet. It can be as cold as it wants, but once you're soaked, it's a bit inconvenient.
Well, I know what my mother-in-law would say. She'd say there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad fashion choices.
I agree.
So I don't agree with that.
I'm glad anyway. Today's a glorious day. Kids back in school. The temperature's turning. If I'd had a sleep last night, I'd be dancing at the moment. I'd be doing a little tap dance on that table.
The temperature's turning. The tide is turning. The times are changing because my boy, as I said earlier, is in the system. Let's talk about it.
It's in the system.
First day of school was Tuesday. And just to caveat this, I promise not to mention the H word this whole segment.
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see.
So he's in school. To be fair, so far we've sold him the dream. He's loving it. So far, he's like.
Do you know anyone? Have you got any friends that are also starting?
He's got one lad from his nursery and I think 2 girls from his nursery. Right. He's at that stage right now though where he thinks girls are stinky.
Yeah, no, they hate.
So he's like not interested in being friends with girls or anything. But he likes the lad, and yeah, he's loving it. The first 2 weeks are like 3-hour days. It's like a settling in period, which I get because
very inconvenient for the parents.
Well, this is the thing, right? My little boy does not need settling in. He's basically on sabbatical right now because he's been doing 4 days a week of nursery, full days. He's actually doing less. The settling in. Obviously, a lot of kids don't do any school until school. They've been at their parents the whole time, so they need to be settled in. So you got morning sessions and afternoon sessions, and I want to talk to the headmistress and be like, "Can he just do both? Like, you don't need to be settled in, mate."
Yeah.
So he's getting a bit of a lovely day at the moment. He goes in at 8:40, comes out at like 11:30. But in 2 weeks,
so inconvenient. In terms of like Alex doing that drop, it's her.
Yeah,
she can possibly pop to the shop and have a coffee and then go back. Like, you got
Pretty
no
much.
time whatsoever.
And she's got a little one to look after. It's just
Oh.
a stitch up, isn't it? Absolute
Oh.
stitch up. Cheers for that school. But yeah, 2 weeks to settle in, and then he's in. So far, he's loving it. He's got his little uniform. I've just all the little elements that come with school. I've managed to get him excited for, whether it's the new people, the new uniform, the fact that he's in. He starts earlier, yeah, but he comes out earlier, like 3:30 or whatever.
It's very exciting. It's very exciting.
Do you know what I found myself? Bear in mind, my views on school, and I obviously don't want to go back to school at all. But I'm a little bit jealous. I'm a little bit jealous. I'm getting him ready in the morning, and I just think his life is completely in front of him. He's got so many opportunities, this new beginning, and I'm like, oh, what a life.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But that's jealous is not quite the word I empathise with. But there is something beautiful about seeing just the youth, tomorrow's people,
and the excitement on his face. It'd be different if I was dealing with a traumatized child who was like, "Don't send me there, daddy." That would be horrible.
Yeah,
but he's not like that at all. He's loving it. So far.
Brilliant. Yeah, I remember Clementine's first day. I took her. She was all really up for it. Got in the uniform. Off she went. We woke her up the next day and we went school. She went, "I've been." We're like, no.
Completed it,
Yeah,
mate.
she went, "I've been." I'm like, no. This isn't this isn't like going. Do you want to go to Legoland again? This is like.
This is it now.
Yeah, up you get. But no, she loves it. She was delighted to go back, which was pleasing. Not quite as delighted as I was to take her back.
Yeah.
Because do you know what? It's not even about. I just find the routine of it so good for me as well.
Yeah.
Like if she's in school, it means I know that 8 o'clock I'm out the house, take her to school, I'll pop to the gym, I'll be back in the house at 9:45. Then I know where I'm going. When she's not doing that, I'm still in the house. It's like 11:30. I haven't done anything. It's like I just need that routine.
Well, I think
that regimented routine.
I think there's massive benefits to it in that sense because, say, with nursery, for example, there was no hard start time. So Alex and I would often get him in for like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Now he's got to be in at 8:40 or whatever it is. So, for example, the last 2 days I've had to go into town. I haven't been needed for my meetings, I think, until like 11, but I'm just halfway there. So I'm going to town for 9:30.
Yeah.
I'm going to the gym or I'm doing an extra meeting or some calls, whatever. So there is an efficiency element to it.
Yeah, your productivity increases when he's at school.
Obviously, he's finishing earlier than he did at nursery, which is something to contend with. And I think, again, you've got to get your stuff, if you're picking him up, you've got to get your stuff packed in.
Do they have the option of the wraparound?
This school doesn't offer wraparound, but there is clubs that I want to, like, he's opened up a few opportunities now. Like, I can take him to jiu-jitsu a bit more in the week. Usually I just do Saturdays because there's a nice session that his day finishes in time for. He really wants to start rugby and kung fu. That's what we're doing next.
Rugby?
Yeah.
Turn him off that.
I sold him the dream of rugby because basically he's not loving football and he loves picking the ball up and he loves fighting. He just wants to fight with everyone all the time. So I'm like, look, maybe we should try rugby because it's sort of like fighting. You can score goals like football, but you can use your hands and just give it a go. And he's like, that sounds like a bit of me, Dad. Yeah. And then kung fu he wants to do.
You can't do kung fu and jiu-jitsu though, can you?
Of course you can.
Aren't they like sharks and jets?
No, not maybe in the past, but obviously nowadays it's all part of like mixed martial arts, isn't it? So if you were not my lad is, if you were to get into mixed martial arts and UFC, you need a mixture. So for example, his uncle, my brother-in-law, he was kung fu was his background.
He was kung fu.
That's what he did at university.
Shifu.
Then he went into
Shifu.
Isn't he from Kung Fu Panda?
Yeah.
That's basically why my boy likes it. Because there's no karate panda. Do you know what I mean? He's not interested.
Yeah, if I'm going to do anything, it's got to be Kung Fu Panda, like Shifu.
He probably thinks he's going to go in, there's going to be all these animals everywhere. I'm like, it's just going to be kids, mate. But Kung Fu was Nick's sort of speciality. But then when you want to be a well-rounded MMA guy, you need to get your jiu-jitsu black belt, which Nick's got. You need to be completely, all-rounder. Yeah. So, and Muay Thai, all these other things. But no, and he can do both. I don't know if he'll do both. I think it might be that he prefers Kung Fu to jiu-jitsu and stops that for a bit. But he seems to like that. What I'm trying to get better at, and I think I'm good at this, like in the sense of I don't genuinely have a horse in the race as to what my lad does with his life. Like as long as he's happy, he enjoys it, I've done my job. If he wants to be a painter or a speed skater or whatever it is, just go for it. I'll try and help. If I was to, and he's only young, he's only nearly 5, but just go off what he says right now, really, because even rugby and kung fu, I've sort of like sold him on a little bit. There's 2 things he talks, apart from colouring in, which he absolutely loves. He's asking us to print off pictures constantly for him to colour in. He wants to fight and he wants to run. That's what he asks to do.
Yeah.
So we're going to take him to one of these fun runs. I'm going to do a little fun run with him, get him actually
in
a race.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I'm like, okay, you want to fight? Well, when we went to that holiday recently, he's got all these older cousins, and they're all Nick's kids. They've all got a bit about them. And they're just so lovely with him, I have to say. They're all older. And
Was he just trying to fight them all?
yes, but they were letting him. Like he was getting overexcited. Had a bit of ice cream and he was literally swinging punches and stuff. And I'm like, not like to the face, but he's just getting overexcited. Yeah. And his next oldest cousin is only like just under 2 years older than him. She's like 6. I was like, he's well within his rights to punch you back here, mate. Like, you need to be careful. And he was so gentle with him. There is an element that I think my boy, if he's going to go down that route, maybe needs a bit of a wake-up call at some point, maybe at a class.
Yeah, that's
an older boy
someone's going to backflip him.
He thinks he's the best fighter in the world right now because no one he ever fights.
Everyone he's ever hit, he's only ever won.
So like, okay, let's up it a little bit. So we'll see. I'm not desperate for him to be a fighter by any means. I'd like him to get some discipline and some bit about him, but then maybe transition into something else when he's older.
Be interesting to see how he does at school now. This is going to be good.
Yeah, mate, I'm really excited for him, to be fair, and it's a whole new journey. What do you think that, like, same thing I just said about my boy and what he seems to be interested in? Like, what would you say Clementine's?
Vet, animals.
Okay.
Anything animals. Animal related is always going to be.
Are you exposing her to, like, animals? You taking her to?
Yeah, well, Victoria's family are farmers.
Of course.
So she's certainly got access to it. She's got rabbits that she adores. I end up doing more for them than perhaps I should. She doesn't. But I think if she were to pick her career now, it would be either a pirate or a vet. She loves the idea of being a pirate.
I want to be a pirate vet.
Yeah, she loves the idea of being a pirate.
You can look after the parrot on the ship.
But no, in terms of what her natural gravitation, it's definitely anything animals.
I find it really interesting to see if this stuff, like, they keep it up, because I don't think a lot of people really stick with the thing that they love at that age.
No. Mate, I loved karate.
Did you?
Yeah, when I was a kid.
You actually did it?
Yeah, I did it. Not to any level, but yeah, I did it a little bit because I thought that one day I might be the new Ultimate Warrior.
Saw Karate Kid.
Saw Karate Kid, Daniel's son, Mr. Miyagi, and all that. And I was yeah. I mean, I think it's very important, isn't it, for when you're parenting, just expose your children to as many things as possible, and then they'll naturally pick what's what. Like I was exposed to rugby literally in my life once. And that's how long it lasted, and it just wasn't for me. I remember going to Centre Parks once, and I really liked the idea of fencing. I was like, what, swords and that? I love that. Then they put the thing on me, and I found it a bit claustrophobic. And then someone actually, like, stabbed me, and I was like, that hurts so much. I'm never doing that again. But it's just giving them the opportunity. Yeah, it's just giving them the opportunity.
Especially for someone that didn't go to a private school, because that's a private school sport, really, isn't it? Fencing.
Yeah, no, Centre Parks is great.
Yeah.
Centre Parks is great to give you that. And that's another thing that she loves, the rock climbing walls.
Okay, that's very good.
Loves
very
that.
Good for your strength.
Loves that. They're the strongest people in the world,
mate.
Don't you think?
They literally are. Like, they've tested it in terms of pound for pound strength. I think rock climbers are the strongest.
Really?
Yeah, and their grip strength is outrageous.
Do you know, they look incredible. Like, you know, when you see... I find it quite often, you know, those gym people, I don't necessarily like the shape. I appreciate that's what you're meant to. I appreciate that people like that, and it's certainly the body that boys think girls like, and it's the body that boys want. But I always find it a bit weird. Like,
I think it's changing that. I think it's almost. You think, like, I think that the dream is like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. He wasn't massive. Yeah, he was ripped.
Yeah.
You know
Same in when he was a boxer as well.
Yeah, also good.
See, I always thought swimmers, they always look very fit, very strong.
Massive shoulders.
Yeah,
massive
swimmers,
back.
but it's rock climbers, isn't it? They're so strong.
Yeah, the thing with rock climbing is interesting is they tend to attract. It's a bit like jiu-jitsu, actually. They tend to attract a certain kind of personality, usually a little bit, maybe even, dare I say, spectrumy. Like, really? You know, like, it's just a sport people get addicted to. But it's a body type thing. You're not going to get, what is it? Mesomorph and ectomorph. I can't remember which ones. I think mesomorph is the big, you know.
Yeah, see, they're the people I think look ridiculous.
Well, you can never be a rock climber with that. It's like me. I'm really good at body weight stuff, pull ups, because I'm very slight and slender. My legs don't weigh much.
Yeah.
It's dead weight when you're hanging and pulling. If you take a big boy, they can't do pull ups.
Do you know what I've been doing? Off the back of a conversation with you. I've been doing hanging. And the fact that you can hang for 2 minutes is absolutely bonkers.
What's your PB?
I can't believe how hard it is. Mate, I do my very best. What I'm targeting is in excess of 50 seconds. So I wait for the clock. Where I hang in the gym, I can see the clock.
Yeah.
And I wait for it to get to the 12, and I am doing everything I possibly can to do 50. What I'm aiming for is a minute, but I can't get anywhere near it. 50 seconds. You're not allowed to let go. 50 seconds. You're not allowed to let go. by anything past 30, that final 20 seconds, it's so hard.
No, you've got to get out your head, but you've also got to do it really regularly. That's why I've got to pull up by my garden.
Well, I've started doing it more. You know, in the gym, what I've started doing is I'm aiming for that, and I always do that, and I try and do it for like early in the session. But then, you know, just between sets, I go and do 15 seconds, 20 seconds, just to try and make it part of my thing. But it's so hard.
It makes a massive difference if you do it at the end of a session as well. When if you've done something that involves your forearms, you can't hang anywhere near
How
the
do
same.
you do 2 minutes just hanging like that? I think it's so impressive.
I don't always do 2 minutes. I've done it a couple times and I aim for that. But I used to struggle to do a minute, and
Can
then
you
get better.
comfortably do beyond
Like
even
if you
one,
asked me to do it
even
right
1
now,
second beyond 1 minute?
Yeah.
You can comfortably
if
do
you asked me
over
to
a
do it
minute.
now, I'd definitely do it well over a minute.
Over a minute.
But again, I've got body type for that stuff. There's those things I haven't got body type for. Anything involving body weight, I'm naturally quite
I suppose I would conform to that as well, though, wouldn't I? Like I haven't got a body. You haven't got a body type advantage over me here. You're just
No, I do think for whatever reason this is a really weird thing, and I'll say it because he said it himself in a video. Like Chris MD, for example, is a short guy. He's actually got a bit of built about him. He really struggles with pull-ups.
Does it?
And it's just like a body framing thing. It's nothing to do with his strength. It's more than strong enough, I'm sure. And he probably doesn't weigh that much either. But I think it's a length of arms thing for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if that comes into hanging.
I'll tell you where I find them harder. Because we're shorter, so me and Chris would be shorter. Going wide, you know, those wide is really hard for us. Really
but even if you tried hanging with a chin-up grip, well, you'd find it a bit easier.
That's much easier. Yeah. I like my favourite in terms of the ease is just next to each other, parallel like that.
And that's more on your back then.
But my God, just hanging, I had no idea. I would suggest anybody listening to this, just try this. Just hang. You're not doing anything other.
I know why you were hanging. It's because I told you make yourself taller if you hang for a bit. You're like, go on then, I'll take an extra half.
You know what? You said it as kind of a part of your routine, and I thought it's something I've never done, and it's something that's so easy for me to do.
It's supposed to be very good. Everyone's like they say it's like really, really beneficial because of the fact that we spend so much of our time on computers. We've got this hunch to us, and that's how you cancel it out.
And it's obviously doing the world a good because I am struggling.
Yeah.
You know, like even breathing when hanging.
That's the bit I struggle with sometimes. I don't know what to do with like my neck because if you go down here, you feel sort of trapped.
Yeah.
But you have to.
It's a great exercise.
You have to find the little. But I personally wouldn't look at a clock because I think you get in your own brain. What I usually do is I have my little stopwatch on the floor, but I don't look at it and I just close my eyes, go to a happy place, and then when I'm really struggling, then I might.
Then you let go and have a look.
Yeah, I'll have a look and I'll be like, okay, I can go.
I see. My ambition on that is to get to one. Like I know when we had the conversation, it was 2 minutes. I've completely dismissed that. My ambition is to get to 1 minute, but I'm miles away from it.
No, but that's how it starts. You do that, and then you get.
I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, do.
I'll keep you posted.
But hanging from bars aside, it is a monumental time in our lives. Your kids obviously started school already. Like we didn't know if we were going to get to this point. We were considering obviously other options and things, and I think. You know, we talked about it. Alex's dad passing away definitely affected our decision making, and that happened. And we had his funeral this week. And decided not to let the kids come.
How did you come to that decision?
Well, baby wouldn't know what's going on, and is a potential distraction.
Yeah.
You know, we had my friend's brother's funeral a few months prior, and we came with the baby, and he cried a bit, and he had to leave the room and stuff, and it was just a bit like you don't want to be that guy.
So who has the difficulty with a family funeral? Whoever you would leave the baby with is presumably potentially coming to the funeral.
So they were both at nursery, but then my younger brother and his missus picked them up from nursery for us. So yeah, my mum and dad came to the funeral, but my brothers didn't. And some of the oldest cousins were there, and some of them even did a speech. They did a reading, which was really well done. I actually think it's easier for kids.
Mate, how anyone does a speech at a funeral where it's close to them, I'm sort of dreading it.
I think kids, like I say, I did it when I was 7, not really knowing what I was doing. I think that's the dream in a way.
Yeah.
I think when you get harder, so we did something. I actually wrote a poem, but not for the funeral. I wrote a poem shortly after he died, just on my phone to try and process my own thoughts about him. And I showed Alex it, and then Alex was like, "Oh, can you read that?" I said, "It's not my place to read it." So Alex read it, but we shared it because there's a few bits that I know Alex wanted. So we went up together because Alex wanted some sort of. It's hard, man. It's probably I think the hardest thing you can do. Like apart from things that can happen to you, like losing people and stuff. In terms of a person, bear in mind, if you were to boil down my skill set to maybe one thing, you potentially say public speaking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I
Confidence.
still am like, my voice is going at points, and this is my father-in-law, so God knows what it'd be like for my own kin. And but we got through it, we did it. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I will say both her brothers spoke very well. One brother read the eulogy, and one brother read closed the whole thing with something he wrote, which was one of the most powerful, I don't know what you call it, like pieces of oratory I'd ever seen in my life. Not so well written, so well fitting of the man they were talking about, so powerful, so emotional, so cathartic. You go to different things like weddings and funerals and things, and you'll see best man speeches, and you'll be like, obviously they're usually pretty decent, but then some are like really decent. Do you know what I mean? And this is a bit different because it's a funeral, but it just couldn't have been better. I was so impressed by it.
Yeah.
And it went well, man. It went well as it can. Had the wake and everything.
Did you consider bringing?
Yeah, so my oldest, no, because there was cousins that are his age or younger there, but they all have older siblings.
Yeah.
So they were sort of looking up to them, and they were looking after each other. My boy being the oldest of our little group, I just think he's not going to remember it. The sad reality is he's not really going to remember his granddad, full stop. So do you just make that level of confusion? If he was a year, 2 years older, I think no problem. But I think for this one, he also hadn't seen his granddad in the 6-7 months since he got ill because it had been too distressing. So it's like, he was even younger when he last saw him.
I think it's. I mean, there's no such thing as a right or wrong decision, but your decision that you've made certainly chimes with the way I see the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been a hectic week, man. We had the funeral on the Tuesday, and then he started school on the Wednesday, and all sorts going on. I went up to Macclesfield yesterday, played in a paddle pro-am.
Is that where it was, Macclesfield?
Yeah, it was like Macclesfield, Stockport way. It was really fun.
Nice courts?
Really nice courts, really nice setup. Pros, so they're unbelievable. And then even the amateurs mostly were elite athletes from other sports, like Jolene Lescott, Phil Jones from football, Jason Robinson.
Are there lots of transferable skills, football into paddle? Were they good?
No, they were good. They were good.
The footballers were good.
I wouldn't say it's a direct transfer. I'd just say that most elite athletes just have a level of sporting acumen.
Yeah.
That my brother-in-law, the same one, he's the same. He was a UFC fighter, but you play paddle with him, mate. It's just not... You could play all year. He could not play the whole year, and he'd still be better.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a freak.
No, there is something about professional athletes that are just like that. I see it at Talk Sport a lot. Like, Darren Ambrose will be around, and I'll go, fancy a game of darts? And he just like hits 180. I'm like, I'm not playing you anymore. You're a waste of time.
No, they're just built different.
They're just excellent athletes.
Particularly footballers, because of the level of scrutiny they go through to become a footballer in terms of that testing, genetic testing, physical and mental attributes. They are the cream of the crop. So not always, but often. And then I think these guys are retired, so they're probably playing maybe paddle 3-4 times a week. So I'll be honest, I was way off them, and I was like, geez, I need to get to work here. There's a couple of guys I could hold my own with, but not many. But really fun, nice little opportunity to keep ourselves active. I do think paddle is a good sport for us.
Great.
Because all the things I like to do, I mean, I like paddle, but all the things I really like to do, they sort of, feed my soul. I just keep getting injured.
Yeah.
Football, jiu-jitsu, namely.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're wise choices for me.
Yeah.
I think
paddle is that.
Paddle's perfect.
Paddle's perfect.
It's the sort of thing that, again, you talk about transferable from football. No, it's not directly transferable, but it's the sort of sport that you can play whilst being a footballer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not, if one of my hashtag players goes and plays paddle, I'm not like worried if you go skiing. But you can pick up an injury anywhere, but chances are you'll be all right.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful sport. Very expensive.
Well, this is the thing, right? It's a very elite sport.
Doesn't need to be.
I don't think it needs to be, because already it's got huge economic advantages over tennis. It's killing tennis, quite frankly, because you get more courts on the same area of land. You get more players because it's a double sport. You get more food and beverage because it's a social sport. So it's a real winner business-wise. So I feel like it could be cheaper. And I was talking to some of the pros there. Some of these guys are super talented, early 20s, England top 3-4 players or whatever. And he was just like, there's no money in it. So I was like, how do you do it, mate? And some of them were just really honest. They were like, look, I'm basically being supported by my parents.
Really?
They're just lucky to come from that sort of stuff.
But don't you feel that we're on the precipice of a paddle explosion?
I think, do you mean in terms of the uptake?
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be an Olympic sport soon and things like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I think if you look at what's happening in other countries, so Spain is massive, second biggest sport there.
Spain is. Do you know when I opened my window, I went out onto my balcony in the hotel that I was in Barcelona, just opened it. All I could see, the entire horizon. It was, that famous, beautiful shot of like Hackney Marshes, where it's like football pitch, just like a glorious scene. It was that, but paddle courts.
But Spain lends itself to paddle so much.
The
Doesn't it?
weather,
You want to
isn't
get
it?
out.
Yeah.
That was my fear for England, was that it was going to be like a paddle boom, and then everyone was going to go, I'm not playing paddle in November, mate. But a lot of them are indoor now.
Indoors.
Yeah, a lot of them. I'll give you an example. There's a new gym, or not actually a new gym, a gym near me. There's just built paddle courts, and they've got this really good offer. And in terms of, you pay the monthly membership, you get unlimited paddle. So if you were to play paddle 2 even times a week, which I know is a stretch, but if you did, you make your money back on membership
There's your
alone.
membership of the gym, yeah.
So I was like, well up for that. Me and Al went down to look at it. You have most you can book a paddle court in advance is a week. So let's say the court becomes available at 7:30 for the next week later. They're all gone at 7:35.
No.
What's the point?
Yeah. That is the problem with it.
So I think what we're going to have is this paddle boom in terms of loads more courts are built. But apparently what happened in like Sweden and like Scandinavia, where paddle's way ahead of us there, is they went so big on it that they built almost too many. It's still a really popular sport, but now there's a lot of just empty courts.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating because, I mean, I like paddle, but we've known about the shortage of 4G football pitches in England for so long. We've built more, but there's still a massive shortage. It's really hard to get pitches. And I think fundamentally, because a football pitch is such a big area of space, and actually is really bad use of space because most of the week it's empty, that there isn't the same economic incentivization to build a huge 3-acre football pitch, right? Whatever it is. But paddle is just, if you're just purely capitalistically minded, it just makes perfect sense. So you're seeing more and more people go, yeah, I'll do a paddle court. Football's harder to get the planning permission, all those sort of things, but we need them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun, man. It's important to keep active. We've talked about this, haven't we? It helps settle the mind.
Totally.
We've got something that's come in here, which I am definitely guilty of.
Go on.
It's actually from Saffron, our producer, and she's saying that one of her friends has been using, is a tactic she's been using with her 3-year-old daughter, is that when she's misbehaving, she threatens to call the police. Now, I've done this. I've done it a couple times recently. When we were in Mallorca, my oldest has been a bit naughty, and there was, you get that serendipitous timing of a siren going past outside. So I'm like, it's for you, mate. They're looking for you. He's like, what? I'm like, you might have to go to prison, mate, just for a little bit, like a year. And he's like, what? I'm like, hey, you didn't tidy up your clothes last night, whatever. And they don't like that around here. And he's like, but he's panicking at this point, and I'm like, oh, I've gone too far here.
Yeah.
And then the other day, he really needed a wee. And it's one of them where I'm caught a bit short. There's nowhere to take him. So there's a little alleyway. Little alleyway. And I know it's technically illegal, right? Yeah. So he does his wee there. I was like, let's just get... Yeah, we call it a tree wee normally.
Bush wee, yeah.
It got away with it. Anyway, we come back out at the end. We'd been at Nan's house. And he needed to do it again. Actually, no, he said he felt sick. And I was like, let's go back to that same alleyway then. And I spotted this camera that was staring on it. I thought, better not, because they probably did pick up him doing that wee earlier. I was like, see that camera? He's like, and I don't even know why I did it, because he was literally feeling ill. I think at this point I was just I was bantering him. But I was like, yeah, the police will probably see that, man. They've probably seen your wee from earlier, actually. And now in hindsight, I'm like, he wasn't even naughty. What am I doing? And he's like, really? I don't need to feel sick anymore. And I'm like, okay. And then we get in the car, we drive off, and he goes, I need a wee. So we pull over, and there's a tree there. And I was trying to now make him feel better, because I felt I'd been a bit harsh before. And I went, don't worry about the police here, because this is a tree wee.
He's talking about the old bill for him.
This is a tree wee, and tree wee is illegal, so you're okay. And then you get this tough bit where you're trying to explain the word legal and illegal, which sounds so similar. Yeah. I think we need another word for one of them. So it's like, no, legal is okay, illegal is bad. This is legal, so you can do it. He's like, I don't need a wee anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, I put the fear of police in him. Yeah.
Do you know where you have to be really careful? This is my approach to it. I think that you need to be careful to use the police as a negative. Like, don't make them scared of the police. Look, this isn't us having a grown-up, adult, informed conversation about the rights and wrongs of the Metropolitan Police. Or whatever. That isn't what I'm doing here. What I'm saying is, for a 6-year-old, I think the police need to be good.
Yeah.
For a 6-year-old, if Clementine ever went missing on Oxford Street and couldn't find me, I would rather she approached a policeman than anyone else.
I agree, but side note, how many police you seen walking around?
No, she won't. She won't approach a policeman because there won't be any there. But I've got a similar thing. But do you know what I say when she starts? I'm like, right, that's it. I'm phoning Mrs. Trunchbull. She's going to put you in a chokey. I'm like, you're going in a chokey. I'm friends with
Wait,
Mrs. Trunchbull.
What's the chokey? I don't know what
The
that is.
chokey, it's a reference from Matilda. So
Oh, yeah, I remember
Roald
that,
Dahl's
yeah.
Matilda, the very naughty teacher was Mrs. Trunchbull, and the punishment was going in the chokey. It's like Oliver Twist, Mr. Bumble would put you down the thing. So I will say, I'm going to get Mr. Bumble, or I'm going to get Mrs. Trunchbull.
And you're happy for them to be villainised?
Yeah, they're villainised because they are villains.
Yeah.
And going in the chokey is the worst possible thing that could happen. It's all spikes and it looks like it would kill you.
Yeah. And that works, does it?
No, she couldn't kill us. She's not. No, she's not. Nothing.
She's like, "Put me in, mate, it doesn't
nothing I
exist."
do works. No, she's nothing I do works. But that will be my threat. I'm loath to make it the police. I could talk to you about the pitfalls of the police, but with her, I'm just kind of at the stage where I'm kind of going, no, the police are good. If you need the police, they will help you. I hope you never do. But if we ever get lost or parted and you see a policeman, go and talk to them.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I think we ultimately parent either way we've been parented, which we talked about with my little reward system and stuff for my boy, which is what my dad did with me. Or if we feel like we've had a negative experience, we try and do the opposite, right? It's all completely related to and informed by our own experience. And so I guess where the police thing comes from is, I don't think I've told this story before. I think I'm fine to admit a crime on here because there's no proof and I don't think they can put me away.
How significant is the
What
crime?
we'll do is we'll have the chat, and if you think I'm in trouble, we won't include it in the pod.
How significant is the crime?
Yeah, it's pretty lame. So when I was about, I'm going to say 7. I don't know the exact
I think
age.
you're going to be all right.
We went to Tower of London. You know, we did my family. We did the Tower of London tour and all that. Lovely day. Then you go to Tower of London gift shop.
Oh, you thieving.
And my dad said we could all have one thing each, right? And for whatever reason, I was torn between this holographic sticker, which was a great sticker, and a Beefeater toy statue.
Oh, you got to get a Beefeater then.
And my brother, being the sort of relationship we had at the time, my older brother, him being 10 or 11, was like, you can't get them both, because I was genuinely torn. So I was like, I put, I think, the sticker in my pocket.
Oh my God.
Right? And then get my dad to buy the Beefeater. And in the car, my brother continues, you can't get them both. And I was like, joke's on you, mate, got them both. And Seb's like, Dad, he's stolen something. Dad literally slams the brakes on the way home, pulls over to the side of the road. And again, serendipitous timing. So my dad saw it obviously as an opportunity, a teaching opportunity.
Yeah.
And he was going mad at me, you do not steal now. We're going to have to go back and return that. I was like, oh, no. As he's doing it, a police car goes past with the sirens. And he says, they're for you. He says, you're lucky that I'm going to look after you and make sure they don't get you. But they're for you. They caught you right now. You'd be locked up. You'll be locked up. And I, at the time, mate, was a bit older than my boy. I think it was a good thing because it scared the shit out of me, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And I never even thought about stealing something again. You know,
look, it's a good lesson.
Yeah,
you
I think
need,
so.
you need
I did
to be
something
taught.
wrong.
Yeah. You did something wrong. You did something at that point in your life. It's quite significant. Like at 7, there's only so much crime you can commit. That's kind of on the scale of what you're capable of doing. That's quite quite high.
And I think it's just important to say that whole story is allegedly.
Yeah. You're the modern day
Allegedly
Dick Turpin.
by me, the guy who did it.
But no, my threats are always relatable threats. So it will always be, you know, that first scene in Oliver Twist where they're all in the workhouse, God is love and all that, and the kids are little urchins, and I'm like, that'll be you. I say, I'm going to drop you off at the workhouse.
Is that relatable? It's relatable in the sense she knows the context.
It's relatable because she's seen it.
There's no one in real life like that anymore.
No, it doesn't.
In this country.
But she's seen it, and as like, so she's read about it. She's read about Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
She's heard about what you get fed gruel. She knows how intense it can be. She knows that if you're really bad in there, you'll end up being sold. Like she kind of knows what it is.
It's mad that stuff used to happen.
So right through the middle of London as well. Boy for sale and all that.
Mental. We've got some Dad Diaries to talk about.
Oh, good. I love the Dad Diaries. Keep them coming.
So this one's about multicultural upbringing. That's the subject of the Dad Diary. And it says, hi, Spencer.
We're well placed to talk about this.
I think we are. And I think a lot of people are nowadays. Hi, Spencer and Rory. I hope you're both well. Podcast is fantastic. I look forward to it every week. I'm 27 and have been with my partner for 3 years. We recently bought our first home and are hoping to have kids before 30. I'm an agnostic male from England and my partner is an Asian female from a Hindu background. I'm incredibly open to her faith and find it fascinating to explore, despite not believing myself. My partner wishes to raise our children with the Hindu faith involved, which I'm on board with 100%, but struggle with the premise of not being a believer myself, to engage our children in the same way. I'm learning Hindi in order to speak it around our children when they arrive, but worried that my children may find it confusing having one religious parent and one not, especially with the varied culture clash. Any advice on raising children in a multicultural household, especially when religion is involved? Your thoughts, sir?
I think the religious, the religious side of things, I don't necessarily think, but in terms of dual heritage, I mean, in fact, your relationship is it Alex is completely English, isn't
so I think she's got a funny little thing on her bio. It says half Polish, half American.
I can't pronounce your name
English.
either.
Yeah. So she's technically, because her mum's American and her dad's Polish. Her dad was Polish, so she's obviously English, but she's also those two things. She got a Polish passport recently, so that's pretty cool. So on the religion thing, I mean, both her parents were Catholic. Both my parents, my mum is religious and she's a Christian, Protestant. My dad, I mean, no, my dad is. He certainly wasn't anti it, but he's not a church-going man. I don't think he would class himself as a religious man necessarily. Hopefully, I'm not doing you a disservice there, Dad, but I actually don't know.
Would he be more like me though, just sort of institutionally religious? So, for example, on the weekend, Pandora got christened. That was never not going to happen.
We were christened.
When I die, you'll sing hymns in a church. Like, I'm institutionally religious.
It'd be interesting to know what my dad's view on that would be. But I know what my mum's view is, and I think because of my mum's view, she had the casting vote sort of thing. But I think on this particular case, this guy is being very accommodating. As a man who's agnostic, he's learning Hindi, which is incredibly, I imagine, a hard language to learn, and you certainly couldn't do it for £10 million.
I couldn't do it for 20.
I'd do it for
you do it by the end of the year. You do it by the end of the year, wouldn't you? Yeah.
So I think it's been really accommodating.
It's becoming really. It's going to be so common. Like, do you know what Victoria said to me? And I'd never really thought about it, but it's actually true. Like, it's almost a guarantee that Clementine, when and if she gets married, won't marry somebody who is English. It's like like Victoria and I were talking about this the other day. It's almost a guarantee that when Clementine, if she ends up getting married, she won't marry somebody who is, at least in terms of their heritage, totally English.
Like multiple generations of English. Yeah. I mean, I think, listen, obviously we're going to avoid the political hotbed of the moment because there's a lot of, rhetoric coming out, people almost concerned about that. That's certainly not where I see it. I think it's great, right? I think it's amazing to have and welcome in these cultures to your family, and our family's experiencing that a lot, so my missus comes from multiple different influences. My brother's fiance is half Algerian. It's actually like quite rare to find, like you say, a couple that are just say 3-4 generations back just English. That's actually what I am. I only have, I think, a little bit of Scottish quite far back, which is still UK, right? Yeah. So I think that's quite boring, to be honest. I kind of wish I had a bit of spice in there. According to my DNA research, I am 2% Filipino. If you're wondering,
you're not
2%. Or it's actually, I think my dad's 2%. I think I'm like 0.8%. But if any Filipinos out there called Carmichael Brown, let me know. I think.
But this fellow's doing incredibly well.
I think he really is.
He's accommodating. He's learning another language.
He's essentially, what his fear is basically saying that, like, he's on board with his children being raised in the Hindu faith. He just has a kind of disconnect between him not being a believer. But I think that's fine, and I think that's normal. If you are that way inclined, so my personal, again, we've touched on this before, and we had Manny on last week, and we talked a lot about his religious beliefs. My personal take on it is like everything. I'm not particularly religious in the traditional sense. If my kid, and he will be exposed to it, is going to a C of E school that is a religious school, if he loves it and it's making his life better, I will embrace it. Will I go and start doing all the things he wants to do? Probably not. But I have no problem with him doing it. Whatever you do in your life, as long as you're not hurting people, and it's best, if it's good for your life, then all power to you. So in this case, I think, look, you be true to yourself. If you don't believe in it and you don't want to believe in it, you don't want to embrace it in that way, that's absolutely fine. I think it's important to your partner, obviously. Allow your children to be exposed to it. And if it's something that they want to continue, like my best pal is Muslim, and he was raised in that way. And, for many years of his life, he was following the absolute rules, no alcohol, don't eat pork, whatever. And as is very common, I think, in these cultures, like sort of second generation immigrants, at some point they make their own decision. At some point they go, do I want to be that for the rest of my life? Do I want to be more like the people I've been raised around? And that's a them decision. So I think that's what his children will ultimately make. But he's being very respectful. And I actually think, I think it's great that we have all these different cultures and influences. One of the things we said in the poem that we wrote for my father-in-law, so there's this song that we sing. It's a famous Polish song. Anyone with Polish heritage will know it. It's called Sto Lat. And it's like, you sing it for happy birthday, but you sing it for any celebration. If I find someone's Polish, I sing the song to them. So they instantly know I've got a bit about me. It's the only Polish I know. But we sing it every whatever occasion. Even when we were celebrating my dad's birthday recently at his house, Alex wasn't there because she was with her dad who was very ill. So no one in that building was Polish. Well, actually, my little boy was, because my little boy has it in it.
Yeah.
So I consider myself honorary Polish. So I made sure my whole family joined in, even though no one there had a Polish heritage. What we ultimately signed off the poem is saying is that, so what we will strive to ensure is that our family sing Sto Lat for 100 years more, because Sto Lat actually means 100 years.
Right.
So that's, I think, the best you can hope for. I've got a completely English guy here who's been exposed to a different culture, and I've embraced it as, I'm not saying I've embraced it to send, I don't speak Polish. Alex doesn't speak Polish. I don't, necessarily, if they play in football teams on and they're playing another country, I'll support Poland.
You support Poland. Yeah.
Obviously not if they play England.
Yeah.
Let's keep it reasonable.
Yeah.
But, and I always say my little boy actually can represent England, Poland, or America. In any sport, because his nan's American. Yeah, so he can play, if he's good at football, he can play for England. If he's average, he can play for Poland. If he's awful, he can play for America. But yeah, I think it's great. It's great to have it. It's great to embrace it. It's going to be more and more common.
Interesting Dad Diary, that.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Should we do another one?
Yeah, go on.
Dad Diary 2 is titled, Worrying About Finding Time for Kids. Hello, gentlemen. I hope you're both well. I have a Dad Diary which has been secretly worrying me for a little while now. I'm 24, from the northeast, but living in London, in a relationship with my partner of 7 years and very much enjoying the extremely busy but fun London life. I'm just going to intersect here and say this. I was talking to my mate the other day. He was telling me how busy he was. And I don't want to get on my soapbox. If you haven't got kids and you think you're busy, you're wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
You are wrong.
You're not tired either. If you haven't got kids and you tell me you're tired, I'll punch you in the face.
It's like, I get it, because I was there. I 100%, if you'd asked me any time in my 20s, if I was busy, I'd be like, busy.
Mate, I'm just run off my feet.
You're not busy. Yeah. Trust me.
Do you know who else do it? And it really winds me up a bit. The grandparents. The grandparents. Do you know, I had a conversation with my mother-in-law, and she was like really urgently trying to leave. She was down for the christening. She had to get back. She was like leaving. She had to leave at 9 o'clock. I went, why are you in such a rush? Like, what's going on? I went, what are you up to? She went, I'm going out for lunch tomorrow. I was like, right.
She should know better. She's been through the busy
No, they
period
forget
of
though.
They forget. Maybe we'll forget. And listen, I'm not trying to say that your experience or perception isn't real. Of course it is, but you will understand when you have children that you're
not busy. You're not tired either.
Yeah.
If you're 23 and you think you're tired because you had a few pints last night, or maybe you had to work until 7, you ain't got a clue.
Do you know what? This is a massive side note, but I was talking to a guy I know yesterday at that paddle thing. We were having a chat about getting older and injuries and all these things. And he was basically saying he doesn't believe in this whole, you get old and suddenly you can't handle booze anymore. He's like, actually what it is when you're at uni, you stayed in till 1 p.m.
Anything to do, yeah.
You of course you recovered better from your hangover because you slept for 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And the next day you just went out again.
Yeah.
You had no stress.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of exam stress or whatever, but no real issues. So he's like, actually, if your life now is you've got kids, you've got a job to go to, you're stressed because of your mortgage, and you've got to get up 5 hours after you get in. Of course your hangover is going to be worse.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that.
That's true.
Anyway, let's get back to this lad's Dad Diary. You're busy. Of course you are. Let's move on. Before moving to London a couple of years ago, we both loved the idea of having kids around 25, 26 age. But as we approach that age, I do not see kids fitting into our current lifestyle at all. We are both incredibly busy, again, with work that most days we don't see each other till we return home of an evening around 9, 10 p.m. That's pretty late. Alongside this, we have now moved away from all future grandparents, aunties and uncles, which, as we've discussed, can be a problem. But to tell you the truth, I don't see us wanting to give up the careers or life we are currently pursuing anytime soon, or at all. So my question is, how do you manage to balance your time working and starting raising a family? I'm worried that eventually something will have to give. Love the pod. Keep up the great work. I think that is one of the most prominent dilemmas in culture today, in this culture certainly. Yeah. And my first response to it, yes, something does have to give. That is true. You cannot do it all. my own experience, which is the only one I can really represent, is that those things that are super important to you now may or may not continue to be. And if they continue to be, and that's your priority, then keep doing them. Don't have kids. The people that do ultimately try and do both are probably the kind of people that send their kids to boarding school. Also, if they have enough money behind them, because they're so fixated on their careers, they haven't got the time to be active parents. In my experience I got to a point where I was like, no, kids are more important to me than X, Y, and Z. And you do have to maybe acquiesce a little bit on your work ethic. You do have to get a better work-life balance. Getting home at 9 to 10 p.m., whilst I completely understand the hustle, certainly of your 20s when you're trying to grind, and I think that's a really good thing to do. Do you want to do it forever? Do you want to be doing that in your 35, 45?
Do you know what, Spence? You know when I hear somebody talking like this and they're in a loving relationship and it sounds like they've got a career and it sounds like just have the children and everything else will fall into place, because suddenly the person that you are today, your child will be born and you're not that person anymore.
Yeah,
you evolve in a way that you can't possibly predict.
Yeah.
Your priorities will change in a way that you can't possibly predict. So don't doubt yourself on, I work until 10 and I don't think I'm ready to have to. The person that you are, you have no idea how it's going to totally morph into somebody else. And you will probably be a better worker.
Yeah. Yes.
And
more motivation.
And you will undoubtedly be a brilliant parent.
Yeah, more
just work
reason.
Itself out. There's weird things that just kind of happen. Like, it's nature, isn't it? You just become the person that you need to be, and that previous person. And there is a bit of a sorrow to this for some people, not for me, but for some people. That person actually stops. I think you kind of have a pre and post children personality.
Yeah, it's like a snake shedding their skin. It's
Yeah.
an evolution. It's a maturing. And for some people it comes at different times. Some people hit that 20, 30, 40, whatever.
All your priorities shift. Everything. Like, my priority when I was 23, genuinely, my priority was Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah.
Like, that was what I cared about more than I cared about anything apart from my mum and nan.
Yeah.
Now Chelsea is like the most important thing in my whole life of all the things that don't matter.
Yeah, that would get sidelined in an instant.
Yeah.
Something was wrong.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, yeah, man, we're on the same page. I think where we maybe differ a little bit is, you've said a few times in this pod, like just have the kids. Whereas my stance is more, no, don't have the kids.
Yeah, we disagree.
Unless you can see a world where your priorities are starting to change. If you're still like, I am in tunnel vision, I'm in the grind it phase, I need to get from here to here, I think you should keep doing that. What I will say is, and you sound pretty, thoughtful person, you've probably considered this, is like, the biggest thing that can happen to some people, and it happened to me, is you're in that grind phase and you actually start to get to the place you're trying to get to. And then you're like hit with a ton of bricks that actually this isn't El Dorado and life is now complete. And I think where I was fortunate is I went through that journey in a very reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
So when I hit 30, I started to learn these lessons. I can still do things.
Our approach to this is always going to be slightly skewed, and we're always going to present different opinions, which I think is quite interesting. But you were a very successful man pre and post children. I actually didn't get anywhere in my life until I had the children, which I think is why my counsel is always
it helps you, yeah.
Have the child, have the children. The crucial thing for me, if it said, if the Dad Diary said, I'm in a relationship with a girl and I'm not 100% sure, what should I do? I'd be like, don't have the children.
Yeah.
But if you know
she's the one,
that she's the one, if you know 100% that you adore her, she adores you, you will love her forever and a day. If you know that.
And you know that you do want kids in your future.
And you know that you want to have kids in your future.
Get it done.
In fact, even if you don't know that you want to have kids in your future, if you know that you're with the right person, have them. Because from my experience, it was the making of me. Whereas your advice will always be a bit different because you didn't have the same experience.
Yeah, well, I also, we're very different people, right? I never struggled for motivation, and I was more concerned with the opposite. I was concerned with almost the distraction of children taking me away from things that I used to think were the most important.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously we come from different angles, we have different experiences, but I think what you maybe should do with your view is also consider the opposite. Like, is there a world where someone has kids in it and it ruins their life? And I say ruins their life. You're not going to hate the kid or like wish you hadn't had the kid necessarily. I don't think
that's true. If you're with the right person, that's where I think these things go wrong. I can't ever envisage a world where you would actually have a child with the person that you adore and consider it a mistake. You know that phrase, like, you never regret going to the gym. I truly believe that you'd never regret having a child with the right person. Like, it's all about the girl.
But
it's all about...
That's a romantic way of looking at life, but life is more complicated than that, isn't it? Like, she might be the girl today, she might not be the girl tomorrow, for any number of reasons. You can't... So maybe I'm a little bit too rational in that sense, but I think what I would say, and this is extraordinarily rational to the point of almost insulting, and I don't have this view myself, but I do think it's important context, because I have a handful of friends, for example, who are, so separated from their partners that had kids, right? And, I'll use one example, and I won't obviously name them, but a friend of mine, married, had a couple kids, they separated. It wasn't his choice. So he was devastated. No longer, with his kids every day, they've shared custody. One of my biggest fears in my personal life, like I've said before, I really struggle with the idea of another man raising my kids, even though that man could be a legend and a really good lad. I still really struggle with it, right?
Yeah, of course.
But this guy was in that, what some would say, nightmare scenario. Having got out the other side of it, and this is not me saying we should necessarily seek to have this situation, but it is about making, lemonade out of lemons, so to speak. Now he's out the other side to it, and he's over the sort of trauma of it, and he's got a new relationship and all these sorts of things. He's like, and she's, again, very rational. I'm not saying it's optimal, but he's like, my setup's pretty good. Like, he's like, if you can make peace with it, I have my kids half the week or whatever it is. I love them. I make sure we really use that time optimally, because I appreciate the beauty of it. Yes, it hurts me to not be with them, but he also gets half a week as essentially a adult man with dispensable income to do what the hell he wants, which no other full-time parent gets. So
that sounds like hell. But yeah, I know.
Well,
that sounds like
actually, doesn't it? Depends what you're into.
But it sounds like making the best of a horrific situation.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way of saying it. But what I'm trying to say, I guess, is like, whatever happens, you can do that. Whatever happens, you can find a way to move forward.
True.
I think the one that really matters in this situation for this particular
for this Dad Diary,
what age do you want to be a parent?
This geezer's ready. There's no, and he's talking about being tired and working hard, mate.
He's 24. He's 24.
All those things happen. Have your babies, man.
He's 24. Look, you can happily go, assuming your missus is the same age. You can happily go another 5-6 years before you have kids. That's very normal. So I wouldn't rush it if you're not there yet. But just think, what sort of dad do you want to be? How important is it for your career progress right now versus, because it will stall. It might get motivation, which I agree. But I do think 24 is that kind of age where you need to just be impressing people, grinding.
Yeah. No one's taking you seriously really at 24. Well, you were different. You were different. No one took me seriously at 24. And when I meet a 24-year-old now, I'm just like, go away.
But the other thing I think, which is probably quite important to talk about, it's not something that really applies to us because we're kind of like self-employed, is like, actually some employers are different to others, obviously, but you get some real good packages now. Like, I've got a pal who works at a very well-known company. He gets a year's full pay paternity leave, right?
A year?
A year.
What, the man?
The man. So like, this is how my brain works. I instantly thought, if I just get a different woman pregnant every year of my life for 30 years, I never have to work again. It's full pay. And has anyone actually tried that? I reckon it's a loophole, and it sounds like the sort of thing that will be a film made with Vince Vaughn in like 10 years. Like, if you're prepared to do the work and find the raw materials, you don't have to work again.
You'd end your life with about 30 kids, though.
Yeah. It doesn't say you've got to be, a good dad. It just says you get a year off. I'm not doing that, just to be clear. It's just a little theory I have. But yeah, I think some companies have great perks. I think the reason they have, I think that's almost too good a perk. I look at it from an employer perspective, and I just think, I can't lose a guy. I'm a small company, so it's different. But these companies that have great perks generally is because they want you committed, loyal, career, company man. But you got to, so to the point of this Dad Diary, it's like, you're grinding now. I've got no idea what job you do, no idea what industry you work in. But like, especially for the mums, obviously, if it's a good company with a good scheme, you do get some adjustment period. You don't have to look at it as I've thrown my career away.
No.
Just pause it for a little bit, potentially pick it up.
Yeah, and like I say, I think from my tiny experience that it will inspire you.
Yeah, very, very much so. All right, Rory, another enjoyable episode of Internet Dads.
Fascinating. Please
be sure to like, comment, share, whatever the heck it is you kids do these days with your fangled devices connected to the internet. Get involved. It helps us a lot. And we'll see you in another episode very soon.